Very good evening, friends. Meeting again in the session of Materia Medica after a big gap. And today we're going to learn very interesting, important remedy in day-to-day homeopathic practice and very useful in many physical as well as psychological conditions. That is Ignatia Amara. A remedy well proved by Dr. Samuel Hahnemann from a plant kingdom. Before going to the Allen's notes, I want to share a very, very interesting case in my practice. It was very early in my practice this has happened. A around 50 years man who came to me and he met me first. And he told me first history of his young daughter who was 19 years old. And he came for an appointment and to ask regarding the homeopathic treatment. So day one, he came, he met me. It was in 1995, most probably 1995-96. He came and met me and he said, Doctor, I am so and so. And my young daughter, who is 19 years old, had a big problem since last 6 months. It has started 6 months back. And the younger son, who is younger to her, he was having a fever with convulsions. He was admitted in a big hospital in Sangamner, and she was sitting along with him over there, and all of a sudden he got a convulsion over there. After convulsion, she get panic, so she went directly to the doctor's home, who was residing above the hospital. So she ran away to call the doctor, and while coming down from the stairs, there was a small doggy who jumped at her. She fell down, and she fell down and became unconscious. And she became unconscious, remained unconscious nearly about 5 days. She was not coming out of unconsciousness. So her scan was done. It was found to be normal. Then neurologist came. He examined, he said, there is nothing wrong, but we don't know the cause of unconsciousness. Then she was seen by psychiatrist. They labeled that it might be a hysterical unconsciousness, etc. These are the things, but she was not coming out properly. She was just on deep stimulation, she was reacting, but otherwise she was not remaining in a stuporous condition. So doctor told us that she will come out itself. They sent her home and we took her home. The day we took her home, our close relatives who brought one fellow, religious fellow, Maulana, and he came over there. He asked to sit about her, around her, and we were sitting over there, and he has done some mantras and etc. And he has put some holy water, and he said, "Just wake up," and she came out. She was looking here and there, and she became conscious, and we are too happy that she came out of consciousness. She remained conscious for around 15 to 20 minutes, and she again entered into the same stuporous condition. Then it has started that daily she used to wake up at that specific time. She used to remain conscious for that certain period. She used to eat, she used to drink, she used to talk during that period, but she again went into same thing. Then someone told us that instead of remaining in Sangamner, take her to some holy place. We took her to the Trambakeshwar, with our close relative over there, and she remained over there. And the thing has happened that she used to become conscious around 11 o'clock daily, and till evening she used to remain conscious. She used to talk, eat, everything. But at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, she again goes into the same state till next day. And when she goes into that state, she used to remain completely unconscious. Then she started getting the convulsion sometimes. And there was one interesting history that she used to get convulsions every time before the menses. 2 or 3 days before menses, she used to get the convulsion. And it happens generally whenever someone talks and someone says something to her, immediately she goes into that convulsion spasms. Then I asked him to bring her tomorrow, so I will talk with her when she was conscious. So she was brought in the afternoon period when she was awake, conscious, and she was very small stature and very weak. At the age of 19 years, her weight was 32 kg. So I talked with her, I discussed with her each and everything. She explained that she used to get dreams of monsters at night, and she used to get up from the sleep specifically at that time. Then she said, Doctor, I'm getting some breathless sensation. And she said, I used to feel like this. And this happens many times whenever I'm conscious. And I feel breathless at that time. I feel frightened at that times. Then she has explained one important thing. I asked, what is the problem with you? Any grief, any problem, anything runs in your mind? So when I teased her regarding all those things, she explained, Doctor, I'm 19 years old. And since last 4 to 5 years, whoever comes to our house to meet my father or my parent, they used to look towards me and they used to say, Madhuri, how how will your marriage will happen? You are so small, so weak. Everyone used to call same sentence. I'm literally fed up of that. Everyone was talking about this, and it disturbed me a lot. I used to weep over the things whenever I'm alone, but I never told this to my parents because they will never feel good about it. But this is there in my mind. It is really disturbing me. So that was very important thing which she has told, and that grief was persistent in her mind and which was disturbing her. So this is the whole story, and she used to get an hysterical unconsciousness, the hysterical epilepsy, all those things. And the case was there in front of me. I discussed many things with her. Nearly the case went on for 2 hours. A big psychotherapy was there. I talked a lot with her, and she was happy after talking with me at that time. So I have repertorized the case. This was the repertorization which I will show you. Just I will share the screen. These are the rubrics which I have considered at that time. This is just now I have repertorized it again with the same rubrics. Fear, fright elements from, that was the big rubric which doesn't have so much significance. Fear, fright aggravates elements from grief with. That was very interesting. She had long lasting grief. And because of that is the reason because of which that was a superficial cause. The fear, fright happened and she went into the confusion. Fear, fright elements from recurrent. That is another rubric which I have considered. Convulsions, spasms, hysterical. Convulsions, spasms, hysterical menses before. Dreams, monsters, sleep on falling asleep. And last rubric which I have considered, sighing involuntarily. And through, Ignatia was coming down. So it was interesting. Ignatia is the remedy. And Ignatia has that hysterical unconsciousness, hysterical convulsions. This is the very specific thing. So I have considered it's better to go for Ignatia. I have given 3 doses of Ignatia 1M to her, and I talked with her that took these 3 doses, you will be all right, and you will never have a problem again. And I told her that to meet me after a week, after 15 days. I called her after 15 days, and I have given 3 doses on day 1, 3 doses next day, and she was kept on just placebo or KP, I don't know, Calipos. It was big, long back, nearly about 30 years have been passed over there. So this was given. After 5 days, her father returned with a very big smile on his face. He said, Doctor, Madhuri is very good, never become unconscious from the day you have started the medicine. I am also happy. Then he asked, Doctor, I want to discuss 2 things with you. Is it possible? I said, why not? He has asked me 2 questions. First question was that, Sir, so many neurologists, psychiatrists, even the physicians who have seen her, who were not able to bring her out of that unconscious state at that time. Her scan was normal and she was in such a grave condition. My question is that how that Maulana's just those mantras brought her into consciousness, how this has happened. Second question is that she was getting same problem since last 6 months, and she used to remain only conscious for 6 hours. But after your treatment, how this has worked, that she never went into again that unconsciousness. I could not get anything, understand anything on this, and that's why I came over here. So this is the story. And she recovered. Thereafter, no more unconsciousness, no more convulsions thereafter. She took treatment for 6 months. No more incidents has happened. After 2 years, she was married and everything was fine. So this is Ignatia. Ignatia has that capacity to bring the patient out of the hysterical condition, and hysterical is not purposeful. Hysteria is the condition where the muscles involuntarily goes into that state. It is not a condition which is happening voluntarily. And this type of Ignatia, this type of hysteria, where the acute cause is grief, acute cause is bad news, acute sudden loss, something, brings patient into that state, and that may reflect more commonly at the brain level, producing a loss of consciousness, may produce shock state. Patient may enter into the convulsions and spasms, etc. And the cause is very acute superficial cause at that time. Patient may enter because patient is very sensitive. Ignatius are very sensitive. And that was interesting case which taught me a lot regarding this understanding of the epilepsy and its relation with the hysterical convulsions, hysteria, and the emotional state of the patient. So this remedy is the wonderful remedy which we have to learn from the Allen's keynotes. I think it may take 2 or 3 lectures to learn the Ignatia. So beautiful proving is done by Hahnemann regarding the Ignatia. So open your books, Allen's keynotes, Saint Ignatius Bin, Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, who proved this remedy from Loganesi family, specially suited to nervous temperament. First important sentence, nervous. They are very sensitive, quick to act. This is the remedy which is quick to act. It comes closer to nux, it comes closer to the coffea, it comes closer to tabacum. Very active, very alert, nervous, on the tip of their nerves, very sensitive, reacting very fast. Women of a sensitive, easily excited nature. Women who are very sensitive, slightest thing affects them, who are easily excited, suddenly becomes excited, either a joy, either a bad news, either a sad news, anything. They gets excited on anything. It might be a happy event, it might be a sad event, whatever it may be. The excitability is very characteristic. Dark hair and skin, they are rather dark colored. This is the constitution which is explained over there. Dark hair and skin, but mild disposition. Excitable but mild disposition. Mildness is there. They are not aggressive. Quick to perceive. So they immediately perceive thing and reacts very fast. Very important. Quick to perceive, rapid in execution. Execution means reaction. They are very fast in reaction. Very fast to perceive and very fast to react. Here it comes very close to the nux. And that's why nux, coffea, ignatia, they are having very similar symptoms. That's why they are inimical to each other. If you go with the remedy relationship, you'll get that coffea, nuxomica, and tabacum. These are three remedies which are inimical to the ignatia because both everyone is having the similar type of action. Very quick to react. In striking contrast with the fair complexion, yielding lachrymose but slow and indecisive pulsatilla. Pulsatilla is very slow, very indecisive, cannot take decision fast. Ignatia is very fast. Pulsatilla is fair, ignatia is dark. Yielding, pulsatilla is yielding, ignatia is not that yielding. Lachrymose, pulsatilla is VP remedy. Ignatia also weeps, but ignatia weeps and goes into the history. Next sentence, which was mentioned in bold, the remedy of great contradictions. This is very important thing one has to understand. He has given multiple examples of contradictions over there, and these are things which you cannot explain on logically. And when things are not logical, they are called to be a queer symptoms. These are all queer symptoms of ignatia. Queer means vichitra, where you cannot utilize logic and you cannot think, how can this happen? The thought comes in your mind. So remedy of great contradiction, the roaring in ears, better by music. So there is roaring in ears, noises are happens to be there, but whenever there is music is there, patient feels better. Contradictory. The piles, better by walking. Generally, the piles, hemorrhoids are always get aggravated by piles. Here, you aggravated by walking. Here, the things are rather opposite. The third thing, that is the sore throat feels better when swallowing. Again, a contradictory feature. So, swallowing generally aggravates the complaint. Here, patient feels better. Empty feeling in stomach, not ameliorated after eating. So, there is emptiness, empty feeling in the stomach, but not ameliorated up even after eating. Contradict. Cough aggravated more hiccups. So, whenever he coughs, cough get aggravated. Cough on standing still during a walk. So see, these are very important features. Spasmodic laughter from grief. So grief has happened. Patient started reacting in a abnormal way, in a laughing. Sexual desire with impotency. There is big sexual desire, but there he cannot perform. Impotent. Thirst during chill. No thirst during fever. Opposite again. The color changes in face when at rest. Generally, color changes of face happens whenever you are running, you are doing very active movement. But here at the time of rest, all symptoms which are contradictory, logically not correlated. This is Ignition. This is what we have to think. Mental conditions rapidly in an almost incredibly short time change from joy to sorrow, from laughing to weeping. Moody personality. Moody, it has been given boldly. Moody, mood changeable variable. Very, very easy. sometimes absolutely cheerful, sometimes absolutely sad. Suddenly, it changes so suddenly. That's why he changed mental condition rapidly. It changes rapidly in an almost incredibly short time. Change from joy to sorrow, from laughing to weeping. Remedies, you see, coffee is having same feature. The crocus sativus, that is saffron. The nux moscata. So these are very important symptoms where the mood is constantly variable because they are very sensitive. Because they are sensitive, that's why there is immediately change in happens in their mood, and that they become goes from one state to the another state. So one has to understand these things of the Ignatia, and these are very important features. Persons mentally and physically exhausted by long concentrated grief. This is what the case was. This case was very interesting. There was a long concentrated grief which she cannot shared with anyone. She cannot told with the parents, but it was saturated over there, which was disturbing her. And some exciting cause has happened, and she went into the unconsciousness. She went into the epilepsy. But superficial cause was that fright. It was not original cause. Original cause was long-lasting grief in her mind, because of which she went into that such a grave condition. So see, these are the things which we have to understand. So persons mentally and physically exhausted by long concentrated grief, involuntary sighing. Underline this. This is too important. Many times patients comes in front of you and sits over there and they this is how they be. You cannot understand why this is. You ask them from how much distance you walk. She said, just I came by auto outside your clinic. Why do you are having such a condition? She says, this is what happens. This is involuntary sighing is the characteristic of this remedy. Very characteristic. Lachesis is one more remedy which you can think in involuntary sighing. But Ignatia is more marked. Ignatia has that historical change. Involuntary sighing with weak, empty feeling at the pit of stomach. There is empty feeling, all sensation, not ameliorated after eating. Patient eats a lot, not getting settled, not feeling better. Hydrastis is one more remedy. The sepia is one more remedy where this all sensation in the stomach happens to be there. So you have to understand these modalities, these things which are there, which looks contradictory, but they're present in the Ignatia. Bad effects of anger or grief or disappointed love, like Alkeriaphos, like Hyosamus. Broods in solitude over imaginary trouble. This is the remedy which was marked in the repertory for brooding over imaginary trouble. Imaginary troubles means they never, whether the things happens or not happen, it is a question, it is a big question. But they things in their, they goes into their own imaginary thoughts and they consider that this might happen, this may develop, and they goes into that and they goes into that thought and they broods and broods and broods. They never comes out. Two remedies, very important. Ignatia and chronic of Ignatia is natrum muriaticum. Both of them. But if you check the Kent's repertory under the brooding, you never get natrum mur over there. It is, in fact, limitation. It is a missing remedy in Kent's repertory, the natrum mur. So we have to understand all those things. If it is not there, it is our duty to add. Next, then in the complete, in the Murphy or in the synthesis, you get that natrum mur for 4 months. But we have to understand that it may happen sometime that you miss the remedy in the repertory. But if you read the remedy and understand the core, then you can consider logically this should be there. So this is one more feature which he has mentioned regarding that bad effects of anger, bad effects of grief, bad effects of disappointed love. This is more marked with Ignatia with acute hysterical reactions. First remedy to be think of in acute state of disappointed love is Ignatia. And the broods in solitude over imaginary trouble. And lastly, the desire to be alone. This is also there with Netremu. They always wants to be remain alone. They don't want to get mixed. So I think we'll stop over here. Tomorrow in the evening, we'll continue at the same time at 8:15. Will the remaining part of Ignatia, maybe possibly tomorrow we'll finish. But Ignatia, we have to learn with different cases. And you can bring those patients out of their states very easily with the help of Ignatia. A remedy which is not so defecting, which is having action for 9 days. Natremure is chronic of Ignatia. Natremure is also complementary to the Ignatia. So remedy which is wonderful enough to learn and utilize in practice. The part which we have discussed. Tomorrow we'll continue with the next part of the remedy. There was one question, any example of long-lasting grief? This was the long-lasting grief in the case only. Everyone used to call her that how small you are and how weak you are and how you're going to get married and all those. That grief was there. That was long-lasting grief. It was there for 3 to 4 years. It was continued. That is what is. That is also one rubric you can take, silent grief. This is just now I have shown you the repertorization. Yes, this is a good rubric, and this I think I might have considered at that time. The case was interesting. I have shared few aspects of the remedy. Grief silent, yes, definitely. Nitromur and Ignatia, both remedies are there. So thank you being there. We'll meet again tomorrow at same time. Good night.